That article is from ABC News, and it's titled "Billionaire Businessman Leslie Wexner Refuses to Reveal Full Scope of Jeffrey Epstein's Alleged Multi-Million-Dollar Theft," dated January 23rd, 2020.
And it's January 25th.
Ah, great. Thank you. Well, I have January 23rd.
Oh, I'm looking at the date in the upper right. You're right.
On Epstein's role with the Wexner Foundation. And I, for that, will introduce Minority Exhibit.
At an industrial level, like working for a big company like Bear Stearns, and then he had done personal work for the Rothschild family in France.
Personal wealth management, essentially.
The term wasn't part of my vocabulary, but he was kind of like the family office manager, and so they oversaw investment, oversaw
Good morning, Mr. Wexner. I will be doing most of the questioning for the minority today. We appreciate your time. As you know, our conversation today will focus on your relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. We'll touch on probably your financial and business relationship with him. We'll also discuss your personal relationship with him. You already discussed with our colleagues the way that you originally met Jeffrey Epstein. I would just like to ask a couple of questions on that topic. When you first met Epstein, how did he originally present himself to you? What services did he say he was offering?
Well, when I first met him, it was just hello, and he didn't represent anything, and I didn't ask anything. I was just meeting a friend's acquaintance.
As that business relationship became closer and you eventually hired him, I assume he pitched his services in some way. What was his way of framing what he was offering to you?
I think it was his experience at an industrial level, like working for a big company like Bear Stearns, and then he had done personal work for the Rothschild family in France.
Personal wealth management, essentially?
I don't know.
We've seen some reports that he would present himself as a bounty hunter, that he would find people's missing money. Do you recall him saying anything like that?
No.
One of the articles that my colleagues already introduced, I won't make you look back through it, but it was the Vanity Fair article. I will just read you a paragraph out loud. It's the only paragraph I have a question about. But that article reported that during a conversation, Jeffrey Epstein asked Mr. Meister to introduce Epstein to you, Mr. Wexner, and Epstein told Meister that Epstein had learned that Wexner's current money manager was stealing from him. And the article identifies Harold Levin, I think, as your previous financial advisor. Do you have any recollection of whether Mr. Epstein ever claimed that Mr. Levin was stealing from you?
Objection to the article on hearsay grounds. You can answer.
As I recall, Jeffrey never thought Harold was stealing, and I didn't think Harold was stealing.
Okay. Did anybody ever say that Harold was stealing?
No.
Okay. No recollection of that.
No recollection of that.
That article also describes a story where you sent Mr. Levin to meet with Mr. Epstein and just discuss an investment opportunity, but Mr. Levin came back to you and told you to stay away from Mr. Epstein. Do you have any recollection of that type of a warning from Mr. Levin?
No.
Same objection.
No.
Okay. When you initially hired Mr. Epstein, do you recall, and some of this may be repetitive, so you have my apologies, do you recall what year you initially hired Mr. Epstein?
No.
Would it be right to say that it may have been either 1989 or 1990?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. Do you recall anybody warning you not to get involved with Jeffrey Epstein when you first hired him?
No.
I'd like to talk about Epstein's roles and responsibilities while he worked for you. You touched on this in the last hour. The total amount of time that he worked for you, how long was that approximately? It started maybe in 1989 or 1990, and I think you testified it ended in 2000 and, what year did you say?
They didn't.
Okay, well, what year do you recall the relationship ending?
Would your statement help refresh your recollection?
Whatever I said in the statement would be the correct date. And so whatever period that 89 or 90 would have been about then, and it ended when it ended.
Was that upon his final plea in 2008?
Whatever I said in the statement is accurate. I remember it as being concomitant with finding out he was stealing from us.
In terms of the different things or roles that he would play for you, is it right to say that he acted as an investment advisor or a money manager? What would be the right term for that role?
The term wasn't part of my vocabulary, but he was kind of like the family office manager. And so where they oversaw investment, oversaw people getting paid, made sure taxes were done, and talked to accountants. I had, in hindsight, because I had done so well, and I was dating Abigail, and we were engaged, and I was married and running 20 businesses. I was very busy, and so all that just stuff that was in my personal life was either wasn't managed by me. It was like my admin was like which sounds kind of crazy, was the closest thing I had to any kind of supervision.
Would he be making investments on your behalf the way a traditional investment advisor would?
I must have known at the time. I don't recall specifically asking him about investment.
I would like to introduce Minority Exhibit A. And this is an article from the Wall Street Journal titled, "Epstein Flourished as He Forged Bond with Retail Billionaire."
Extra one.
And you don't have to read through this whole article, it's just helpful to have it in front of us. But on the bottom of page 3, I will read just a single sentence to you. And the article,
identify where
sure,
it is.
it starts with the word soon. It's the very last sentence on the bottom of page 3.
Starting there.
Oh,
And that sentence, I'll read it out loud as well, says that soon Mr. Epstein was presenting Mr. Wexner with a variety of investments, including apartment buildings and a development involving a former post office building, says Mr. Morosky. And we understand that to be Robert Morosky, a former vice chairman of your company. Is that consistent with what you remember Epstein doing for you?
Objection, hearsay, you can answer.
no.
No. Okay. Do you have any recollection of Epstein presenting you with investment opportunities such as these?
I'm sure he did, but they weren't apartment buildings or post office. It would have been,
Do you remember?
no, I don't remember.
Is it that you don't recall at all, or that, as far as you recall, that statement is just not accurate?
Well, there's two parts of it in reading this. One, not accurate, and I fired Bob Morosky for bad behavior.
But as to the substantive part, Is it that you don't recall whether or not Epstein would present you with these types of investments?
I do not recall.
Okay.
And the quote is from somebody that I fired.
Okay. In addition to the, I guess, family office role that you described, I'd like to ask about whether Epstein provided other services to you. We know that he provided some later clients with tax planning services. Did he ever do anything like that for you?
Must have, but I have no specific recollection. I mean, somebody, my attorney, tax attorneys, I'm kind of a muddle about who did what.
And so is it fair to say again that you just don't recall either way?
Yeah, I don't recall at all.
Okay. Separately from that, Mr. Epstein was a trustee for various trusts and charities of yours. I'd like to touch on both of those roles, starting with trusts. And so I will introduce Minority Exhibit B. And that article is from ABC News, and it's titled, "Billionaire Businessman Leslie Wexner Refuses to Reveal Full Scope of Jeffrey Epstein's Alleged Multi-Million-Dollar Theft," dated January 23rd, 2020.
And it's January 25th.
Ah, great. Thank you. Well, I have January 23rd.
Oh, I'm looking at the date in the upper right. You're right.
right.
Under the byline is January 23rd.
There you go.
It's got two dates. I don't know which is correct.
All right. On page 3 of this article, and I'll let you take a moment, in the middle of that page, the article says that they identified nearly a dozen trusts connected to you. I don't think...
Where is that?
Sure. It starts in the paragraph, Volsher and Boyd, in the middle of the page.
Okay.
Who are those?
I think they're associated with ABC's investigative reporting team.
Thank you.
And it tells us that they found nearly a dozen trusts with names like health and science interests, arts interests, and community interests connected to Wexner that listed Epstein as trustee and received large gifts of stock in Wexner's company. So I'll stop there. Do you have a recollection of the trusts that are described here?
None.
None. And so do you have any recollection of Mr. Epstein's role with those trusts?
None.
Okay. We will come back to that, but I'd like to touch for a moment on Epstein's role with the Wexner Foundation. And I, for that, will introduce Minority Exhibit C. And this document is titled Independent Review of Jeffrey Epstein's Involvement and Interactions with the Wexner Foundation. And the document is dated February 24th, 2020. I'm not going to ask you to read through this. It's a long document. I will point you to a specific part of it. But first, we understand this to be an independent review that was undertaken by a law firm at the request of the Wexner Foundation in the wake of Mr. Epstein's arrest in 2019. Is that also your understanding?
I never knew of it. I've looked at this, I'm laughing, because the address is 65 East State Street, and that was the address of my dad's first store when I was 13.
Okay. Well, so is the report unfamiliar to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Completely.
And I think page 4 of the report says that you were interviewed by the law firm for this report. Do you have any recollection of that?
Nope. None.
Do you have any reason to doubt the report that you were in fact interviewed for the report?
No.
Okay.
I don't remember it, so
Sure.
I can't doubt it.
Page 9 of the report simply tells us that Epstein, and I'll let you turn to it if you'd like, but it just tells us that Epstein was elected as a trustee of the Wexner Foundation in 1992, and that he remained a trustee until September 2007. Epstein would not have been the only trustee of the Wexner Foundation, correct?
Objection to, as to hearsay as to the document. The question is fine. Can you repeat it?
Sure. Would Epstein, did the Wexner Foundation have more than one trustee?
I'm sure it did, and I think there was a legal requirement to have three. And I don't, but I don't know that. I just think that.
On the next page, page 10, under the header number 2, there's a header that reads, Epstein played no role in the operation of the foundation's fellowships or other programs. And the first sentence afterwards says, based upon our review of foundation records and interviews with foundation leaders, we concluded that, although a trustee, Epstein played no role in the management or administration of the foundation's operations or programs. Now, on that topic, I'd like to introduce one more single-page exhibit for you.
So I'm just going to object to this statement as both a statement and hearsay, but go ahead.
I think, as the majority general counsel noted, the objections have no legal grounding in this forum.
I'm making it for the record. It is a deposition, so I'm making the objection, that's all.
So
Is this a single page?
single page, and I'll give you a moment to look it over.
This is D?
That's D. I'll describe it briefly. This
Can
is
you give him a chance and me a chance
Sure,
to read it?
of course.
Thank you.
I think I just read it. I'd never seen this before, but go ahead.
great. It's a email chain from 2006 between, starting with Peg Ugland, who we understand was the financial controller for your family office, a person named Darren, who we understand to be Mr. Epstein's lawyer, Darren Indyke, and Jeffrey Epstein. And the chain appears to relate to a foundation grant, and the question is whether the funds should come from the Wexner Foundation or some other related entity. Epstein appears to make the decision that if the recipient is a U.S. charity, then the funds should come from the Wexner Foundation. I'll just represent to you, there are other emails with similar themes. This email chain seems to clearly show Mr. Epstein acting as a final decision maker with respect to the disbursement of Wexner Foundation funds. And that obviously does not square with findings in the independent report. So, having been interviewed for the report, my question is whether you had any understanding of Mr. Epstein playing this kind of role for the foundation.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
No problem.
Are you asking me, did Jeffrey decide that money should be given to Abeben? Or do I write a personal check or is it a foundation check?
It seems in this example, Mr. Epstein was deciding whether or not the funds for this entity should or should not come from the Wexner Foundation.
Or from someplace else, not whether the donation should be made itself.
Yeah.
I think that's the distinction he's trying to draw.
I had no recollection of where it came from. I regularly helped Abba Eben after he retired from government. And I probably would have started with writing a personal check, and then I would speculate how it was paid. I don't remember writing the check. But Eben was a very good friend, and he had no money. He worked for the government of Israel, and Social Security was, his income was nothing. He was living in public housing. And my sense was that it wasn't fair. So I took care of him privately, and his wife, Susie, until they both died.
Did you have any knowledge that Mr. Epstein was acting as a final decision maker for whether or not to spend foundation funds?
Not at all. He would never have done that.
He does appear to have done it here.
As a decision maker, no, absolutely not. I wouldn't have not, didn't know it, wouldn't have thought it.
So this role would have, him playing this role would have occurred without your knowledge.
Objection, seems in fact not in evidence.
It happened without my knowledge, but I did give money to my friend Abba Eben and his wife Susie.
Okay. Thank you.